Hi, guys, welcome back to another interesting episode. Now, before we start, I'll tell you all about what we are going to discuss today. Now, firstly, you must have seen stories of your friends on Instagram and wondered how are they attending fashion shows and what's going on, what's the scene? Do you have to book it on Book My Show or is it invite only? I have received these questions a lot. I've seen people writing on Diet Subway and asking these questions. So, today we are going to decode all of that for you and more. We have today with us a very interesting guest who has recently showcased in the London Fashion Week, and her brand is called Tabeer India. And she's going to give you all the gossip, all the fun insights, and everything that you need to know. So please welcome Palak D. Arya. Hi Palak, how are you today?
Hi, I'm amazing right now.
How are you feeling? Are you happy, energetic, excited, or are you like, oh my God, I'm doing this for the first time?
Yeah, it's more like I'm doing this for the first time, but I'm happier on the same side.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. So you just came back on the 25th, right? And you must be exhausted.
Super exhausted, jet lagged. But it's again now we have just started with our festive time. So I was back to my workshop yesterday and it was super exhausted. But it's again a new journey we are starting again.
How is it a new journey? I heard that you were first into automobile designing and then you started designing bags and now you're, with the whole clothing lines.
So I got an opportunity from Maruti. So I started designing for them, then gradually manufacturing for them. And then I got another opportunity with one Russian client. I was searching, I was in turmoil. She just started her own brand in bags. So I started manufacturing, bags for her. So designing was more like, it was not just clothing for me earlier. It was more into like everything and anything I can design for people around. So then I started my own label as well called Clutch. And I started exporting my bags. Gradually, when I got my foot into manufacturing, I understood how the market is working, and working for somebody else made me learn that how it all works into that scenario. And then I just made the beat happen like 2 years back.
Are you feeling camera conscious?
Super. I just don't know where to look at. Sometimes I want to look at the camera, sometimes at you, but I am super.
I'm your friend for today.
Yeah.
Talk to me. Okay, fine. So you just said ki working for somebody else gave you a lot
Yeah.
of insights. Now the popular opinion today, like what people struggle with, is that should you even work for somebody else or directly go and start working for yourself? What do you think
it's
is
a very
right?
personal thing, I feel. Like whatever makes you learn, it's always good. So some people might, like a way out that they do not want to work for somebody else and then they gradually want to work for themselves. So it was somehow working for somebody, but I was also making my own like manufacturing and my own design process happen. I was not into the box. It was something I was doing out of the box at the same time. So it was very similar, but it was more like the marketing part was onto them and the designing part was onto me. So it was little easier for me to understand and grasp and see what is happening around.
You said that you studied at Pearl. Now there's a
Yeah.
big debate going on all the time, that is Pearl better or is NIFT better?
That's been like since ages.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What your thoughts?
See, honestly, I felt like I have a lot of friends from NIFT as well. So no like offense or something like that from Niftians. But I felt like from Pearl, we got a lot of exposure in the starting. So be it like our first year, like that was the foundation year, till the fourth year. So every year we had exposure outside the campus as well.
So you have like an edge over the Niftians is what you're trying to say.
Not really.
Because of all the
Not
exposure.
really. But this is
Yeah.
what I felt when I did a bit of comparison in terms of exposure.
Understood.
But it also depends on person to person itself. So even if you don't get exposure, and a lot of many like good designers are from NIFT as well, and
Now you're being diplomatic.
I am
Now
not.
you're being diplomatic.
I am not.
Okay, fine. You just showcased at the London Fashion Week.
Right.
When you started your brand, did you ever think ki, oh, this is going to ever be possible? Will I ever do this?
Honestly, when I started my brand, Tabeer, so I was dead sure that I don't want to start it like in a slow process. I want to do a moment like my debut, which should be a grand place. So I was very sure of that. So I got a lot of Indian opportunities as well. but I targeted in such a manner that I want to go big from the starting
You
itself.
like go big or go home?
Yeah, it's more like that.
Okay. And when you were showcasing, like, like we'll of course ask you about the prep and everything,
Yeah.
what went in and all. But when it came like to reality, what did you feel? Were you like shocked? Were you like, oh, this is really happening? Or were you like very confident ki, yeah, I thought knew this is going to happen?
I would not say that I was super confident about it, but I was happy. I knew that it's going to be grand. So when my model started hitting the runway, and that was like a super, because I couldn't sit in front that time. I was on the backstage. I was just looking, just peeping into it, how it's going to happen, what is happening and stuff. So that feeling was amazing. It was more like a dream coming true. So that was super exciting feeling.
What is the backstage like? Like I've also been to
Yeah.
some fashion shows, and then of course you sit like in the front and you're
Yeah.
never at the back.
Yeah.
What goes on behind?
So there were goosebumps. Everybody was there. We were just, it was a chaos also on the backstage, because a lot of models were coming back. They were rechanging, and few were going. They were getting dressed up. So at the moment, there were places when they were, the heels were suddenly they started, drooling back, and
Oh
that
man.
was a moment that we just have to, switch the heels, because everybody was walking by. Looking at somebody else's show and being a part of your own show brings a lot of difference. It's a
Okay.
nice feeling.
Of course, there have been other very renowned designers who have already done that.
Right.
Did you, for a moment, also feel that, there's a certain expectation that I have to live up to? What are people going to say or think back home?
Yeah, there was certain things which was popping into my head. So it was more like I'm going to like I'm going on to such a bigger platform. It's going to be global out there. A lot of coverages might come up, and what I'm going to do if it doesn't turn up well. So these questions were just into my head, but somehow that belief also was there inside me, that I did a lot of hard work. I gave, like, it was all in for me in the starting, because it was my first mover. It was such a big platform, and at the same time I was excited, nervous, everything was there. But yeah, it was there in back of my head, but somehow it neutralized in a way that yeah, it's gonna work out well. I feel I'm speaking crap right now. I don't know why. So making of my collection was it was full of drama. So there were certain emotional moments we had, like with my entire team, and certain fun moments, sleepless nights and everything. So I also made sure that certain times were there when I was, just sleeping in my own office. So I just got a mattress from home, and
Oh
I just
God.
put it out there, yeah. And I used to sleep for like 2-3 hours, and a whole night my cardigans and everybody was working, and they worked
This is in
super hard.
India or this is in London?
No, this I'm talking about
Acha,
India. When we
India.
were just prepping up for the collection, so it was around 2 months, that like almost a month, I stayed in my factory itself, in my office. So I used to
Oh,
wake
damn.
up. So I made sure, I just used to go home, get dressed up, come back again, and then the whole process started up.
God, so this
Yeah.
is behind the scenes, the reality,
Yeah,
and that's why
right.
you're like, oh crap, like I
Yeah.
don't know what to say. Okay. Nice. No, makes sense. Now, when you showcase the lehengas, so how did you expect like the international audience to receive that? Like,
So we
what kind of reactions did you actually get?
So honestly, I have many clients in London itself at the moment, and
This was
lehengas
before the showcase or after?
before the showcase.
Oh, so you already
I already
ah,
have few clientage in London and US, so I somehow know what kind of lehengas they prefer for their, bride, as a bridesmaid, or as attending some good Indian weddings out there. So they always wanted to have a fusion, which
okay.
I figured out, and that is what our signature is.
Sorry to cut
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
but like, what I've seen, like, I don't know about London, but people in the US or like in Canada,
right.
now the version that they have of Indian outfits or Indian people and how we are living today is still like, how it used to be ages ago. So for them, like, even the makeup that they do or the lehenga that, they wear, I've seen it's like too ethnic, like maybe how an Aishwarya Rai used to look in one of her
Yeah,
movies back
yeah.
then. Okay, so they are still thinking that that is the India, like
Yeah.
even today.
I
That's,
feel whatever
huh.
you're saying is somehow true, because I wanted to explore the market there. So I went to South Hall. South Hall. So the designs we used to do 10 years back, 15 years back, the collection was similar.
Yeah.
and the people walking in. So I just started chatting with few of the people. They wanted to buy Indian stuff, and they were like, we want the whatever they had in mind was only bling is associated with Indian, something which is
Oh,
little loud,
yeah.
something which is purely like cholis with lehengas and proper dupatta. So that is Indian. So that is what I figured out, which is core inside London. But when we come to the contemporary market, the new Gen Z people which are coming up, they are more aware of what new things are happening in India and how it's going global because of social media and other platforms as well. So those people are the ones who are our main clientele.
Okay, but it's so funny
Yeah.
to see. Like, I was even watching in one of the stand-up comedies, I think, of Veer Das. Like, he was
Okay.
also saying the same
Yeah.
thing. Ki they still associate all the chimki and the brown lipstick and the
Yeah.
bindi with
So
being India till date.
So there was, I'll give you a small glimpse. So there was a female, NRI. So she came up for our show to attend. So after the show, she came to meet me, and she was wearing a very bling dress along with a bindi. So
Oh,
she
okay.
said, "I'm an Indian," and I'm like, "Okay." So she said that I'm looking like an Indian. I dressed up like an Indian because I'm putting up a bindi.
Anyway, let me come back to like your days at Pearl Academy. Tell me some fun story like that you had with your friends.
So I figured out I want to get into fashion. I used to dress up my own Barbies, taking out, a lot of chunk and fabrics from my mother's wardrobe hidden and just cut it out and make new stuff.
And did your mom kill you after that? You're like, what are you
Not
doing with
really,
my
but she
outfits?
most of the time she was not aware of it. But
Okay.
when she used to pick out stuff from her wardrobe and it was all torn out and stuff,
Oh, damn.
then she figured out it's me. So I was very messed up that time. And when I used to be in a
You
joint
were
family.
creatively messed up.
Yeah,
Let's put it
creatively
right.
messed
Yeah.
up, I can say that. So I belong to a joint family. So a lot of kids were there in the family. So be it a boy or a girl, I didn't care. So I used to dress them up as well. So since then, I was super, super aware that I want only to get into fashion, though my father wanted me to become a CEO or something, and he was after my life about it. And then I gradually got
So
into
you were a
Pearl.
rebel kid. You were like, no, I will do fashion.
Yeah, so he was more like कि ठीक है तू अपने merit basis पे I'm not gonna give bribing or something to anybody but just get into it and do it. So he had a perception that time in his mind कि fashion designing में घुसने से I'll walk the ramp or be
You'll be
that
a model.
spoiled
Yeah.
person or something. So he went with me to Pearl like 4-5
Oh, okay.
times, and even later I got to know he used to come like on my back and figure out ki what's happening around, what is a crowd around. So he used to spy on me that time
Oh.
during Pearl. And then later I got to know because there was a backside area, and I just peeped out and I saw my father standing when I was sitting with my friend group, and
Oh,
I was like so
God.
embarrassed. What is happening? Why is
I
he
would, if
here?
that happened to me, I would get creeped out. I was like,
I
excuse me.
I know. I was
Yeah.
like super, super. I panicked also. I was like, no, no, no. Why is he here and all of it? But yeah, then
Then did you go home and like you fought it
yeah,
out?
then
Or?
I made sure, because it was somehow in his head in the very starting, though he's very like open with me and my brother all together. He let us do like he was always out there helping me out. So I made sure like I used to take him for all the fashion weeks.
Okay.
Like us time pe I remember Wills was happening that time, so I took him along with me, made sure he's convinced that
So
this
he
is
was your
what I'm
plus
gonna
one.
do. Yeah. So I used to tell him that this is what I'm gonna do. I want to make my collection out there on the ramp and on the runway and everything, and I'm not gonna walk for it.
Yeah.
So and he got convinced, and he was always
Tell me
helpful.
more about your joint family. Like I'm super interested to know because I've heard कि
Yeah.
joint family में जो लोग रहते हैं, so the other people, the other family members also have opinions on like your
Yeah.
life, career, who you're going
Right.
out with,
Right.
what you're doing, what you're
Right.
eating. Is that the case?
So, my main strength was like where I am today is because of my joint family. Because I
Oh.
belong to a business family. So everybody was in different business. So my father being a stockbroker, my brother into manufacturing, my other brother into some other part of the other category. So they all had, so when we sat and had dinners and lunches together also on Sundays also, so there was always this business, talking around. So they always had some or the other opinion. So since childhood, I had it in mind that I want to do my own business. It was never like a
It
job
was
job thing.
ingrained in you.
Yeah.
Huh.
So their opinions, and I used to go to everybody, and they used to be always encouraging because I was the only girl child in my house.
Okay.
So I was filled with my brothers around. So they always used to push me, even my father, my brothers, that start with your own thing, like go out, explore. They made me travel alone a lot of times later.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
they used to be like, just go out, explore, and see what's happening around, meet new people, understand what's happening. I used to go to my brother's factory, like outside Delhi also. I used to stay there for 10 days. I used to just be around the workers and see what's happening around, how are they doing their work, what are their timings. So that is how my real learning started.
I have a question for you. I have a serious question for you, okay? Since you grew up all around your brothers,
Yeah.
did you ever get a chance to have a boyfriend at that age? Because usually people don't if they have like so many
Honestly,
brothers
I
hovering
did.
over.
I
Oh,
did
you
because
did,
they
okay.
are super chilled. So even my
Oh,
brother was, aware about my first boyfriend. Okay, I'm in in front of the camera. I'm married also now.
it's
I
fine.
passed
It's
through
fine. It's fine. It's fine.
but yeah, so he was always helping me out. So
Okay.
my sneak outs, and he also used to come along with us. So
That's
though
that's
he's
a new
6 years
thing I've
elder to
heard
me,
about brothers
he was
because
not a very
usually
protective kind of a,
ah,
matlab, okay, if I've been wrong, then of course he's going to be there for me for that also. But he was always a chilled out person, like my buddy.
nice. That
So it
you
was
are
never,
lucky because from
yeah.
most people I've heard, oh my god, my brother's gonna come,
Ha ha
just
ha. Yeah,
go
that
away,
was never
go
the
away.
case with me. That was never the case with me.
Nice, how sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. I know it was a little personal, but
That's
okay.
okay.
Anyway, coming back to like the fashion shows. Now, many people wonder, like, this is what my intro was. So it's imperative we give people this information. People wonder all the time, ki, how am I going to get access to a fashion show? Okay. They see stories, they see
Right.
on every news platform it's happening, no, ki this fashion week is happening, this fashion week is
Yes.
happening, and people are like, "Ye hote to ja raha hai, but how do we be a part of
Part
it?"
of it, yes.
So tell me, like, tell us कि ऐसा हो कैसे सकता है
Ki,
कि you be a part of it.
so it's always depend on the invitees,
Okay, so it's invite only.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's
guys.
always invite only.
Okay, so
Though
then
it
they'll.
should be a platform, I feel that certain segments should, like, since we are like all global now, I feel there should be a polling also, like even for 10 invites or 15 invites we can give to new people out there. So they also get an opportunity to see if they buy from us, and even if they don't buy from us, they get to see that platform, which is not aspirational anymore, which is more realistic, and they can be a part of it. So
Yeah.
I think it
I
should
think it's
happen
even
that way.
important for like outsiders of the fashion industry to kind of witness and view this world, because
Yeah.
right now it looks something from a distance ki acha
Yeah.
theek hai, it's some other world
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that'll be a good idea
But
if
it should happen. I also feel that.
absolutely. Okay, now coming to the fun part, I've heard that fashion shows have a lot of chatter going on. And, sometimes I see like people posting about it also, this is something that I heard, this is something that I heard, and then people are all laughing about it. Have you ever had any such experience?
I feel I don't. I'm not able to recall any such moments at the moment, but yeah, there must have been a lot of moments. But I'm not a person. I totally. I usually don't get into all of the chats too much. But yes, when people are trying to act little smarter with me,
Yeah.
then I just bang on to them back.
Then you were like, what do you think? I was
Yeah.
not listening to you. Okay, nice. Nice, interesting. Another question that people wonder a lot about is ki, how do you get your models, like, for a fashion show? Like,
Yeah.
does the designer hire them, or are they like hired by some other agency? What is the process? Like, this is a thought that, it
Right.
comes to many
Right.
people. So what did you do?
So I hired it from an agency.
Okay.
So they send you a full pack, and then you get their sizes, you get their charts and everything. So accordingly, whatever suits your collection, so you can pick them up from that entire chart, and they can be a part of
So there are
your
a lot of
runway.
rehearsals and everything
Yeah,
beforehand.
rehearsals happen like one day before. So it's more like the coordination, the rehearsals, who's going to walk first, and all the sequences, and then the entire finale, which happens. So that happens a day prior.
Okay. And nowadays, many influencers are also like, content creators are also
Yes,
walking
walking. Yes,
the runway, and like, you sometimes you see familiar faces.
yes.
So if you plan to like do a showcase in India,
Hmm.
do you have any plans to showcase in India though?
I want to, but I
Mm.
want to go first international more because
Okay.
my collections are more appreciated by global market, like Dubai, like London, which we recently did, and US as well. And then I want to come back to Indian market and be out there.
Okay. So will you also want like, influencers or familiar faces like celebrities doing your runways?
Yes, I would never mind doing
Okay.
that.
No,
Of
because I've
course.
heard a lot of these opinions, like especially from models, ki it's not really a good idea because it ruins the whole essence of what a fashion show should be.
Mhm.
So, from a designer's perspective, what do you think?
See, honestly, when I did my first debut, there people don't care who the showstopper or show opener is. They are
Okay.
more concerned about what model is coming up. So they're more model centric runways which happen outside. But in India, people love drama. So
Yeah.
they,
Yeah.
want musicians, they want models, they want celebrities. But that's also a good idea. I love to do dramas. I also wanted to do a bit of drama in international market for my London collection, but
But they don't
I
appreciate
figured
it.
out
Okay.
that they don't appreciate it.
Okay. So
So
it's quite varied, like
yeah,
how it is in India and how
yeah,
it's
it's more
outside.
simplistic, more minimalistic out there, more outfit centric. It is more, but here it's more like an aura which we create, like a big Indian kind of wedding. Which what we do, we
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
dramas and everything is
We love
happening
we love to
around.
put on a good show.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's more like, but I love to do that as well. I wanted to do something like that in London too,
You know,
but it was not
this makes me
appreciated.
think that the Indian market is actually drifting towards a more experience based model, in the
Mm-hmm.
sense that whether people are opening a restaurant,
Yeah,
whether you are having these fashion shows, it's more about the experience that you're getting today.
correct.
Like the other day I was meeting somebody, and they are planning to open their own restaurant. So now they want ki, okay, we'll have like a wine session with jazz, and like we'll teach how to pair with cheese with what. So it's basically like a whole experience that they're trying to create.
So it's more like
Yeah.
engaging everybody. So it's not just a showcase kind of a thing. People are turning up into very theme centric kind of, be it a restaurant, be it fashion shows. They want people to engage more. They want people to be a part of their story also, not just see their product and just have food in a restaurant, or they want to give that experience so that it's very personalized with every
Hmm.
consumer or client, so that it's a very personal connect. Till now, all my clients are my friends now.
Ah,
It's
okay.
not just a client and the brand kind of a thing anymore. They are my friends. We meet, we chit chat, we sit together, even if they are buying from me or not. But we have come into that zone that it's very personal kind of a thing now.
So today it's more important to build a community rather than just focusing on selling something.
Correct.
I think people have taken this from the Red Bull model,
Huh.
because what Red Bull also does essentially, like even if you see their Instagram page,
Yes.
it's all showcasing thrill, adventure. They are not
Yes.
selling ki, oh, ye lo Red Bull pee lo.
Yes. They don't promote their
Yeah,
product.
yeah, they don't promote their product. They're
Yes.
building that community ki whoever
Yes.
loves that thrill adventure.
Whoever loves that adventure happening, so they'll get connected to the Red Bull community out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So I think in fashion also,
it's very similar.
it's very similar, and I
Yeah.
think it's quite imperative also to have that community ki,
Yes.
okay, those who appreciate this kind of a design style
Yes.
language
Yes.
will resonate to us and be a part of our community. Coming to my last question to you, because we've chatted a lot and I feel that we'll keep going on about these
Yeah.
things. What is your ritual like before the fashion show or like after the fashion show? Is there any specific thing that you, because I've heard that you're a spiritual person.
So I usually travel very frequently to
Hmm.
Kechi Dham, that is in Bhimtal.
Okay.
So that spiritual feeling, when I went there for the first time, I felt it created a magic inside me.
Okay.
So whenever I was letting back in my life, it always gave me a push.
Now, before we end, we play like a fun game. So it's just like you have to answer very quickly, okay? If your constant mood was a color, what would it be?
Blue.
Your current favorite emoji?
It's that one with the cool, that shades one.
A social media ick?
I don't think there is any.
Really?
Yeah.
People have so many social media icks, okay?
I don't have
You
one.
are a saintly person, okay? Favorite pizza topic?
Olives.
Okay, nice. And your morning skincare ritual? which you just cannot
So
skip.
it's just washing my face and then moisturizer, then sunscreen.
Thank you so much. I hope you guys gathered the insights that you needed from this episode. If you have any more suggestions or ideas for us, please do let us know in the comment box below, and like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much. Bye.